Hello, everyone. I am back this morning. Hope you all are doing well. This is just going to be short and sweet, guys, but I wanted to talk about home invasion, securing your home, and finding security in God. I just wanted to let you know if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Deidre. I am a certified life coach and I help rehabilitate women who've experienced toxic relationship cycles so they can boss up and break free. So today we're going to talk about home invasions. I actually was doing a research on home invasions and it was very interesting. But before I dive into that, I wanted to give you a few scriptures. So the first scripture is Proverbs 14, verse 1. It says, "The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands." And Proverbs 24, 3 and 4 says, "By wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge, the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches." And the last scripture I want to share is Isaiah 32:18. And it says, "My people will abide in a peaceful habitation, in secure dwellings, and in quiet resting places." So, this is what I wanted to talk about, the power of security. Insecurity is the breeding ground of invasions, is the breeding ground where people can sit here and pull on vulnerabilities and manipulate and control and take away, and sometimes ultimately cause you to live in a dead place, right? So, the purpose of being secure is to be safe, is to sit here and not just let anything come in and enter in and cause the confusion or division, but you want to keep a place of peace and serenity within your home. So, I wanted to share some interesting facts about home invasions because I don't know. I was led with this title, and God has been speaking so loudly in regards to this. But I want to share with you. So, these are some statistics that I found. So, with home invasions, 34% of burglars twist the doorknob and walk right in. So, one accessible way that burglars get into a house is by using just the main entryway, the door. Um, the second way they try to enter in is through the first floor window. So 23% use the first floor open window to break in to your home. The third way that people try to have entryway into the house is 22% coming through the back door. And most burglaries that I looked up happen between um 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. It's interesting because I always thought it would happen like at night, right? When everybody's sleeping, nobody is up, and everything is kind of quiet. So I find this very interesting. But also, one thing I noticed with the statistics is saying that 75% of homeowners don't have a home security system. So, like, if you go to certain places, um, not go to certain places, but 75% don't have a security system. So, nothing to alert them if there's strange activity happening around their home or anything. But also, what is interesting, I found out, is depending on the place, there is an increased level of invasions and burglaries. So, depending on where you're dwelling at, you could be prone to having invasions and dealing with invasion crimes and all of that. And another thing was 65% of burglars are already well acquainted with the people they rob. Isn't that interesting? Majority of robberies that happen is not due to it being a stranger, but it's somebody being familiar with you and being acquainted with a person in some type of way. And then another thing was only 12% of home invasions are planned in advance. So there's only a small percentage where things are pre-planned to sit here and interrupt somebody's house. Isn't that interesting? And then there are almost 3 burglaries that happen every minute in the US. And also, my last statistic that I found was that 88% of burglars may be robbing to support a drug habit, aka to support um, whatever addiction they may have, that wouldn't be a good thing. So the reason why I shared that with you is because God allowed me to connect this to a spiritual sense. And one thing I found, like being trained in the school of the Holy Spirit, you will find that physical functions allows you to have the depthness of how the spirit functions. And I think that's so powerful. So the reason why it's interesting with the home invasion is that people tend to sit here and find different entry ways of getting into the home, right? So what it would look like physically when it's concerning to your emotional well-being, people will try to enter into your heart. They'll sit here and say things that your traumas or vulnerabilities are longing to hear, and they'll feed on that in order to have entryway into your heart, to your mind. Some people will sit here and try to enter into your mind in the sense of trying to make you think a certain way so they can sit here and align you with what they have an intent to do. Some people try to you know what I'm saying, physically manipulate you in the sense of abuse or all of that. And the reason why I want to tie that into is that we have to be careful and be mindful of the entryways we are allowing people to have access to. There are some people, they are easily able to invade because we're easily accessible. You know what I mean? And we have to put a security over our hearts and our minds to make sure that we are not an open door for people to take, for people to steal, for people to sit here and have access to not even just you. Have, when you think of a home invasion, when people are coming in, they have access to everybody within that house. So many times we're not understanding that insecurity is a breeding ground for invasion, but sometimes it's not just you getting infected about through that invasion. It's other people that are closely connected to you. And so we have to be mindful of what we are opening the door to. And I wanted to tell y'all this. I'm a very private person, so there's a lot of things that I don't discuss, but there is a lot of things that our family is going through as far as spiritual warfare. But my faith is not wavered because I'm a believer that God, His word will not return to Him void. And through us going through the stuff that we're going through in regards to what's happening, He ended up showing me a dream to help me to understand the spiritual attack going on in our house. And I was led to share this dream. And in the dream, what happened was this, y'all. We were okay, I was sleeping, this dream, and what was happening was I was having my son in my hands, I believe, and my two youngest daughters were there as well. And what was happening is there was a mob of people that just came in our home, and they just start taking stuff out of our home. Like after they took everything out of our home, it was literally empty, but the scene was kind of like, it was very, very scary. There was like a level of fear within my children that it just was very scary, and the lighting of it all was just weird and dark. And so what happened was they not only took the stuff out of our house, right, but they took my husband. It was a mob of people. They took my husband and they start jumping him and antagonizing him. And then so I finally got the courage to go out of the house to see what was going on. And when I seen it, it was still a mob of people there, but this time they tried to attack me. And then I start speaking in tongues and I start praying. And literally, when I start speaking, I kid you not, when I start speaking in tongues and praying in the dream, it was as if it was as if they stop antagonizing, they stop attacking, as if they never were attacking in the first place. It's almost as if the prayer shifted their minds and focused and confused them on what they were actually doing. And I thought that was so powerful. So then a couple minutes later, um, I think I end up calling the police, and the police finally got here. And once they got there, they were our protection, and they guided us in. We got into our car. With the whole family packed up in the car, doors locked, everything. And the police officers, there were two police cars, and they were behind our car, just making sure nobody was trying to surpass us, trying to do anything or attack us. So they were literally guiding us and protecting us as we were going to a destination. And in this destination, I was going to another house or whatever. And I'm not sure what, I don't want to say what house it was because I'm not sure. When I'm not sure, I tend to not just speak on it. I only speak on what I know. So I just know we were going to a different destination, a place that was going to be safe away from what we were dealing with. And so, with us doing that on our journey to getting to this new destination, there was one lady from the mob that ended up somehow finding where we were, but she was like on the sidewalk and our car was like this, so there was like a distance, like there was a whole distance. And when she seen us, she it's almost like she was monitoring and just lurking, trying to see like what we were doing and where we were going. But what was interesting about it, even though she had like the position and the pursuit of wanting to sit here and attach to us and see what we're doing and stop what we were doing, she couldn't cross over from the sidewalk. She literally stayed in that position. And so eventually I seen that. I immediately got back in the car and secured the car doors and everything, so she wouldn't come. And then after that, that's all I could remember of the dream. But there was a powerful revelation God gave me. Like I felt at peace knowing what to pray against. And so I wanted to share the revelation with you. The revelation was there were spiritual robbers trying to take, trying to take away and leave us empty. And ultimately, spirit of delay and setback. And so, with this spirit of delay and setback, I realized the mob of people were actually demonic spirits, right? And so, with them being demonic spirits, God was helping me to understand that how prayer literally is the trajectory of shifting things that whose goal is to target you. And the targets literally are dismantled through prayer. And I thought it was powerful because it literally confused them to the point they didn't even know what they were doing anymore. They forgot that they were sitting here trying to approach me. And so that was one revelation, is understanding that prayer is the one security point in the spirit for evasions not to sit here and prosper. Another revelation he told me too was that there's a destination that he is shifting us to. And through this destination, there are people that are trying to prohibit the move. And so, with prohibiting the move, the police officers represented the authority figure, which is God, and it representing Him protecting us from people who are trying to follow that mean us no good, or people that are trying to sit here and invade and destroy that mean us no good. And so that was the representation of the police officer. And through us arriving to our destination or on our way to our destination, like I said, there was a woman on the sidewalk who was afar off, who was trying to sit here and peep into what we were doing. And one thing that I heard was a monitoring spirit. Like she literally was just watching, trying to figure out where we were going, what we were doing. And so one revelation he gave to me was that we have to plead the blood over spiritual robbers, people who are trying to take our spirits, that are trying to take away from us, to leave us with setback and delay. And also understanding that your authority in God is the security that's going to keep mobs of spirits from attacking you and antagonizing you. And thirdly, monitoring spirits, to pray against the spirits that want to sit here and lurk and watch and see everything that you're doing, and trying to sit here and figure out where you're going and how you're getting there, and trying to attack through just monitoring you. So the reason why I wanted to share, I hope that wasn't too long, but the reason why I wanted to share that dream, because a revelation was birthed in regards to home security. I don't think people understand that when you are allowing insecurities, whether that be traumas or any of that, to build up and not addressing that hurt, you literally are opening the door to more traumas being empowered over your life. It's almost like a mob, where now first it comes with one thing, but now it starts multiplying and doubling, and before you know it, you're having this force up against you. And it's a battle of you wanting to be free versus you being bound, because you're not learning how to sit here and take that insecurity into a secure place, which is God. We sit here and often allow our insecurities to sit here and be appeased by defense mechanisms, but they're not a lasting solution. They only conceal. They don't really free you or change you, but they conceal and allow you to feel comfortable um to protect yourself. So what I mean by that, say you're dealing with I don't know why I always talk about this issue, but maybe there's somebody that's dealing with this. But if you're dealing with having a very dysfunctional family, and your relationship is distorted there, you're now would use every relationship that you're connected with as being manipulative and controlling, because that's the source of your security, in order to not be controlled and manipulated again. So, what I want to emphasize to you is that securing your house is the best way. Your house is your body, and securing yourself is the best way for healing and identity to take place. We often think being insecure is a good way of guarding your heart, but that's a very worldly way. The world will tell you the way you guard your heart is by sitting here and doing certain things to let people know that you're strong, you're this, you're that. But in actuality, all you're doing is injecting your stains of hurt on somebody else. Versus in the spirit of God, the insecurity is able to fall off because you're with somebody who is secure. You're with somebody who is pure. You're with somebody who's full of peace, who's full of righteousness. And what it allows you to do when you're insecure in that dwelling place, he reflects a mirror so you can see things, traumas that have literally been wrapping around you that you could not get entangled out of. And what I find so interesting is that he often gives me this image of like a necklace being tangled up. And like when something is tangled up and stuff and you're trying to like untangle it, it could be frustrating. Sometimes it's easy to untangle it and it's that. But when it's really tangled up, you literally have to sit here and be attentive to how to unravel things. So eventually once you unravel it, it will straighten back up, and then it's usable again, right? And that's the same thing with us. Some of us, we're literally like that necklace where we're so tangled up that we're trying to sit here and wear that entanglement and still make it pretty. And it's not pretty, because what it does is keeps building up knots, keeps building up secured knots, and all it does is causes your heart to continuously be hardened. And when you are hardened, it literally kind of restricts you from going so far. Like, you can only go so far with having a hardened heart, because there's just so many barriers that people can't access to, because you're still holding on to things that need to be released, untangled, and straightened out. And, one thing I want to share with this, I'm not going to go in detail, but one thing, when God was dealing with me with healing when it came to relationships, I remember when I first got into a deep relationship with God, there was something that He took me. I kid you not, guys, I had a dream, and in that dream, He literally showed me exactly the source of why I viewed things the way that I viewed. This happened years ago. And I remember when He showed me, I just was like, wow, because I didn't realize how much I buried the very things that were triggering me to be the way that I am. And it's so crazy. There can be hidden things within you that you don't even realize that is the connection to you acted this way. And so many times you think it's just, no, it's just my identity. It's just the way I am. That's just how I am. Or you'll justify it. But He allowed me to sit here and see things without layers and see it as it was. And when He did that, I kid you not, I remember the purging process of it all, where He was literally purging me. I remember, like, Him, like, just keep recollecting these things within my mind, and I was feeling so sick and didn't understand that during that time, with Him processing me through that, He was literally purging those things out of me. And the reason why I'm sharing this is the best way to be healed. You know what I'm saying? Mentors, coaches, all of those are good. And I'm a coach, so I know those are really, really good. But they can only take you so far. There's a level of intimacy in God that has to be reached for you to experience the fullness of His healing so it can be maintained. So it's just like you're going to a doctor, right? And you go to the doctor, and you may go to that doctor for a certain thing, and you need healing. And what do they tell you? They sit here and tell you to maybe take medication or do certain actions or whatever it may be. But the important thing that they tell you is how to maintain your health, right? So it's not just I go to the doctor, I take this regimen for a certain length of time, and then I'm good. No, there has to be a maintaining of the healing. And I think so many times counseling can be effective for a certain period, but then people end up still being entangled in their mess, because there's a level of intimacy in God that has to be reached for Him to ultimately take the fullness of everything out so the health can be maintained. Because you can be healed physically, you can be healed, but if it takes one decision to sit here and literally cause that healing to be no more. So we have to be conscientious of what we're letting in, what we are doing, and making sure that's not going to open access to setback and delay too. But I just wanted to share this with y'all, because I just want to remind you that it's okay to be vulnerable, but even in vulnerability, there has to be a safe place to sit here and be able to pour out your heart. I believe so many times our vulnerabilities are not necessarily a bad thing. Insecurities are not necessarily a bad thing, because it allows you to stay in the spirit of lowliness, to understand and let God be God and do what He does best. He's a healer, right? But sometimes, vulnerabilities, insecurities can also be the cause of you still allowing trauma to be built up and tied in, because we're allowing people to see those parts of us that feed off of it more so than help heal it. So, what I want you to understand, the best place to be vulnerable and insecure is in God, because your security literally flows like oil on top of that insecurity. And it allows you to um, just it allows you to just be in a safe place, but be in a vulnerable place at the same time. I hope I'm making sense. But it allows you to pour out your heart without feeling like you have lost something. But there's a beauty in crying in the midst of the Father. There's a beauty in just letting your heart out and letting God see you and expose you versus letting the world expose you. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, people can be ruthless and people can be really, really judgmental. People can literally um, break you in half if they're not called to sit here and see the vulnerable parts of you. And so, and they can misunderstand you. So, what I want you to understand is start at being in the intimacy place of the Father when it comes to pouring yourself out. So you won't be a target for torment, a target for invasion, a target for theft, a target for death. Like, we don't want that. We want to be free. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to just have lip service and have the outward parts of us to appear like we are free, but we want our home to be secured. And what's so interesting about this, guys, with our house, we have in our front door, we have like a security with our door. Like, people can't just walk in. There is like a code that has to be put in order to be able to enter into the house. And the reason why I'm saying this is when I looked up the process of securing a home, there's not just one entryway that needs to be secured, but they'll tell you the windows need to be secured, the back door needs to be secured, and there also needs to be a security system that censors activity outside of your home. Even though you're within your home and there's activity outside, you're one insecurity away from making that activity outside be your reality inside. And so, what I want you to understand is to secure your home, secure every place in your life that has a vulnerability for people to creep in like a snake, and secure it. And sometimes we don't know. I'm going to be honest, there's some things where I didn't even realize I was operating in stuff, and God had to sit here and reveal things to me. So there, don't think it's strange when you don't even, you just think, sometimes you just think you're acting this way, but there's a in-depthness, a deeper layer of why things are flowing out of you the way they're flowing out of you. So, what I want to tell you is to allow God to sit here and unfold those layers. Allow yourself to go through a journey where you continuously keep finding out things. Don't ever get to a place where you've arrived, but always be in a lowly place where God can literally reveal things to you so you can keep growing, so you can keep um prospering. You know what I'm saying? And prosperity is not just money. It's also your soul. It's also your mind. So what I just wanted to leave with you guys is, I'm gonna say it for the last time, is secure your home. Secure your home. Don't allow anybody to just come into your house. It's not being rude. Like, physically, you wouldn't allow anybody to come into your house because that's a safe place, right? That's a place where your family is as well. So if we don't do that, how much more should we do with our bodies? Do with our like I said yesterday, relationships. So what I want you to do is get in the habit of making security your partner. Partner up with security, partner up with wholeness, and partner up with freedom. Okay. But this is all I had for today. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Choose to have an amazing day. And until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.